My child. Stay with me. Do not rush. Do not scroll. Do not treat this as background sound. Because what is being released right now is not information. It is alignment. And alignment demands attention. Heaven is not reacting. Heaven is responding. There is a difference. Reaction is emotional. Response is intentional. And what you are sensing in your spirit is not excitement. It is recognition. Something ancient inside you is waking up because it remembers this moment. Yes, my child, it is true. A declaration has already been made. Not on earth. Not in your surroundings. But in the unseen realm where outcomes are decided long before events appear. Heaven has spoken. And when heaven speaks, it does not experiment. It confirms. You were not chosen suddenly. You were revealed. Understand this carefully. Selection happens quietly. Revelation happens publicly. And you are standing at the edge of revelation. That is why your life has felt unstable lately. That is why old patterns have been breaking without your permission. That is why certain people have grown distant without explanation. It is not loss. It is repositioning. Heaven does not elevate without separating. Before any crown is visible, there is always pressure. Before any authority is recognized, there is always isolation. Before any assignment is activated, there is always testing. And you have been tested in ways no one applauded you for. You were tested in silence. You were tested in delay. You were tested in misunderstanding. You were tested when you did the right thing and still suffered. When you stayed loyal and still were overlooked. When you kept believing and nothing changed immediately. And heaven watched closely. Not to see if you would succeed, but to see if you would remain yourself. Many can obey when reward is instant. Very few remain faithful when reward is hidden. And you did. That is why your name was called. Not shouted. Not argued over. Spoken with certainty. When the chamber was summoned, it was not chaos. It was order. Heaven does nothing in confusion. Every presence arrived knowing this moment would mark history. Not because of drama, but because of destiny. Wisdom arrived first. Because wisdom always precedes power. Witnesses arrived next. Because truth requires record. And then silence came. Not emptiness. Wait. Silence in heaven does not mean nothing is happening. It means something irreversible is about to be decided. And when your name was spoken, it did not echo. It landed. Some understood immediately. Because understanding recognizes truth without explanation. Others froze. Because entitlement does not like replacement. My child, this is where you must listen very carefully. The resistance connected to your elevation is not random. It is not accidental. It is not personal. It is positional. You are not being opposed because of who you are. You are being opposed because of what you now carry. Authority exposes insecurity. Calling threatens entitlement. Selection offends pride. The one who resisted was not evil. That is the shocking part. They were respected. Experienced. Trusted. But they wanted ownership of something that was never meant for them. And when it was given to you, their true heart surfaced. This is important for you to understand, because in your earthly life, something similar is happening. There are people around you who are not evil, but they are uncomfortable with your growth. They are not enemies, but they are unsettled by your clarity. They are not trying to destroy you, but they are disturbed by your authority. And this disturbance will show itself in subtle ways. Tone changes. Support fades. Conversations shift. Energy feels different. Do not panic. This is confirmation. Elevation always reveals alignment. Now hear this truth that will protect you. You are not meant to fight them. You are not meant to explain yourself. You are not meant to shrink to keep peace. Your authority does not need permission. Heaven already confirmed it. And now, the focus shifts. Not to heaven. Heaven is finished. The decree is sealed. The crown is placed. The authority is assigned. Now the work moves to earth. And earth is louder. Earth resists more. Earth tests consistency. This is where many fail. Not because they are unqualified, but because they underestimate themselves. My child, listen to me. The greatest danger in your next season is not opposition. It is hesitation. You have spent years surviving. Now you must learn to lead your own life. You have spent years enduring. Now you must choose expansion. You have spent years waiting. Now you must move with intention. This is not arrogance. This is alignment. You were not crowned to dominate others. You were crowned to govern your own reality. Your thoughts. Your choices. Your standards. Your direction. And yes, you decide how this reign unfolds. Not fate. Not people. Not history. You. This is why the pressure has increased. Because responsibility has increased. And responsibility always arrives before comfort. You may feel tired. You may feel uncertain. You may feel like quitting. But hear this clearly. That feeling is not failure. It is proximity. Breakthrough often feels like exhaustion right before manifestation. You are closer than your emotions are telling you. The opportunities you have been praying for are aligning. The provision you have been waiting for is moving. The healing you need is already in motion. But it will require one thing from you now. Continuation. Do not stop now. Do not withdraw now. Do not doubt now. The enemy's strategy is not to attack you violently. It is to convince you to give up quietly. To rest when you should persist. To doubt when you should decide. To retreat when you should advance. But you have not come this far to abandon the final steps. Every delay refined you. Every tear prepared you. Every loss taught you discernment. Nothing was wasted. And now, something is changing inside you. You may not fully understand it yet. But you feel it. A steadiness. A clarity. A refusal to remain small. That is your authority awakening. And this is only the beginning. My child. Stay with me. Do not loosen your focus now. Because what I am unfolding next is not poetry. It is protection. It is instruction. It is understanding that will keep you steady when pressure increases and voices grow louder. You must understand something very clearly. When heaven confirms authority, earth tests it. Not to cancel it, but to reveal whether you will stand in it consciously or abandon it unconsciously. Right now, what you are experiencing in your daily life is not confusion. It is transition. Transition feels unstable because old systems are dissolving and new ones are not fully visible yet. And in that gap, the mind tries to interpret everything as danger. But this is not danger. This is movement. The resistance you will encounter will not always be obvious. It will not always come with confrontation. Sometimes it comes with silence. Sometimes with distance. Sometimes with people suddenly misunderstanding you. Sometimes with delays that feel intentional. Sometimes with opportunities almost arriving and then pausing. Do not misinterpret these moments. This is not rejection. This is calibration. Your authority is being tested in one specific way right now. Not by what others do, but by how you respond when things do not move as fast as you expected. Many lose their crown not because it was taken, but because they laid it down in frustration. Hear me carefully. You are not being asked to fight harder. You are being asked to remain anchored. The enemy does not need to destroy you if he can exhaust you. He does not need to attack you openly if he can make you doubt quietly. He does not need to remove your blessing if he can delay your belief. That is why thoughts have been louder lately. Thoughts that say, what if nothing changes? Thoughts that say, what if you were wrong? Thoughts that say, what if you imagined all of this? Those thoughts are not intuition. They are interference. Your spirit knows the truth. That is why your mind is being challenged. Now listen. Authority is not proven by force. It is proven by consistency. You will be tempted to explain yourself. Resist that urge. You will be tempted to defend your decisions. Resist that urge. You will be tempted to lower your standards to avoid tension. Resist that urge. Not everyone needs to understand you. They only need to respect the boundaries you now set. This is where many women struggle after elevation. They confuse compassion with self-abandonment. They confuse kindness with silence. They confuse humility with shrinking. But hear this clearly. You can be gentle and still firm. You can be loving and still decisive. You can be humble and still authoritative. You do not need permission to honor yourself. The crown you carry is not visible, but its effects will be. People will feel it before they can explain it. That is why reactions will change. That is why some will test you. That is why some will withdraw. Do not chase them. You are not losing people. You are losing versions of yourself that tolerated less than you deserve. Now, let us speak about what this authority activates, because many misunderstand this part. This crown is not symbolic. It is functional. It activates provision. It activates discernment. It activates favor. It activates restoration. But not instantly in ways your mind expects. Money does not arrive first as cash. It arrives first as access. Healing does not arrive first as relief. It arrives first as awareness. Breakthrough does not arrive first as celebration. It arrives first as opportunity. You must be attentive. There will be conversations that suddenly matter. Ideas that suddenly persist. Openings that feel small but carry weight. Do not dismiss beginnings because they do not look dramatic. Queens do not wait for perfect conditions. They move with clarity. Right now, the universe around you is rearranging itself to meet the version of you that is emerging. And rearrangement is always noisy. It always feels disruptive. It always feels uncertain. But it is necessary. You have been asking for change. Change answers by removing what no longer fits. Now hear this deeply personal truth. You have blamed yourself for things that were never your fault. You have carried guilt that did not belong to you. You have judged yourself through lenses given to you by wounded people. That ends now. Your worth is not measured by how much you endure. Your value is not proven by suffering. Your purpose is not fulfilled by self-sacrifice alone. There is a season for endurance. And there is a season for enjoyment. You are crossing that line. This does not mean life will suddenly become easy. It means you will become clearer. And clarity reduces unnecessary struggle. You will stop explaining yourself to people committed to misunderstanding you. You will stop chasing approval from those threatened by your growth. You will stop shrinking to fit spaces that can no longer contain you. This is maturity. This is authority. This is alignment. Now let me address something you have been afraid to admit. You are afraid of your own power. Not because it is harmful, but because you were taught that being strong makes you unlovable. That being decisive makes you difficult. That being confident makes you selfish. Those beliefs were never divine. They were learned. And they are dissolving now. You are allowed to want more. You are allowed to expect better. You are allowed to choose differently. The life you desire is not out of reach. It is out of old alignment. And alignment is shifting now. The job you have been praying for is not delayed. It is being refined to match your standards. The money you need is not blocked. It is being redirected to come without compromise. The healing you seek is not denied. It is unfolding in layers to make it permanent. Do not rush the process. You are not late. You are not behind. You are not failing. You are transitioning from survival into sovereignty. And that transition requires patience with yourself. Some days you will feel strong. Some days you will feel uncertain. That does not mean you are regressing. It means you are human while becoming more. Do not measure your progress by your emotions. Measure it by your decisions. Are you choosing differently? Are you setting boundaries? Are you honoring your intuition? Are you continuing despite fear? If the answer is yes, then you are moving correctly. Now, listen closely. The next phase will test one thing above all else. Trust. Not trust in others. Trust in yourself. You will be given moments where the old version of you would hesitate. Where the old version of you would wait. Where the old version of you would doubt. And in those moments, you must choose to act from who you are becoming, not who you were. This is how authority stabilizes. You do not need to know every step. You only need to take the next aligned one. Your crown does not require perfection. It requires presence. Be present in your life. Be present in your decisions. Be present in your growth. Do not escape discomfort. Learn from it. And now, one final truth for this part. The reason this message feels intense is because it is activating something dormant inside you. Once awakened, it cannot return to sleep. You will never again be comfortable pretending you are small. You will never again be satisfied with half-fulfilled potential. You will never again ignore your inner knowing. This is irreversible. And that is why heaven celebrated. Not because of status. Not because of title. But because a woman remembered who she is. My child. You have come too far to turn back now. The very fact that you are still here, still listening, still feeling something stir inside you, is evidence that this message is not passing through you. It is settling. And when truth settles, it rearranges everything. Now I must speak to you about what many never understand until it is already happening around them. The final resistance. Not the obvious kind. Not loud attacks or open opposition. But the quiet kind. The kind that tries to wear you down instead of tear you apart. This resistance will not always come from strangers. In fact, most of the time, it will come from familiar places. Familiar voices. Familiar energies. Not because they hate you, but because your growth confronts their comfort. When you rise, you remind others of where they stopped. And that reminder creates discomfort. So they may question your choices. They may minimize your progress. They may suddenly worry about you in ways they never did before. They may advise caution when your spirit is ready to move. Listen carefully. Not every warning is wisdom. Some warnings are fear disguised as concern. You must learn to discern the difference. Your authority now requires discernment more than speed. Do not react emotionally to resistance. Observe it. Learn from it. Resistance always reveals where power is shifting. Now, let me make something very clear to you. You are not stepping into chaos. You are stepping into order. But it is a higher order than what you are used to. And higher order always feels uncomfortable to lower patterns. Your old life operated on survival rules. Your new life operates on alignment rules. Survival says, hold on tightly. Alignment says, release what no longer serves. Survival says, please others to stay safe. Alignment says, honor truth to stay whole. Survival says, wait until you are sure. Alignment says, move when you are called. This shift is what has been unsettling you. You are not confused. You are recalibrating. Now let us speak about the hidden battles, because pretending they do not exist would leave you unprepared. The battle is not against people. It never was. The battle is against old programming. Old beliefs. Old versions of yourself that learn to stay small to stay accepted. The enemy does not need to attack your future if he can keep you tied to your past. So thoughts may surface like, who do you think you are? Memories may rise that remind you of failure. Moments of doubt may question whether you deserve ease. These are not signs to stop. These are signs you are crossing a threshold. Thresholds are always guarded by fear. But fear is not a warning. It is a test. And here is the truth that will set you free. You do not defeat fear by eliminating it. You defeat fear by moving anyway. Every time you choose clarity over comfort, fear loses power. Every time you choose truth over approval, fear weakens. Every time you choose growth over familiarity, fear retreats. Now, let us talk about manifestation. Not the shallow version people speak about. Not wishful thinking. Not pretending. True manifestation flows from authority aligned with action. Money will begin to respond to your boundaries. Respect will begin to follow your self-respect. Peace will begin to increase as you stop negotiating your worth. Provision is attracted to order. When you stop leaking energy into doubt, people-pleasing, and self-questioning, resources begin to flow differently. Opportunities start finding you. Conversations shift. Timing aligns. This is not magic. This is alignment. You will notice that when you stop chasing, things begin to approach. When you stop forcing, outcomes stabilize. When you stop over-explaining, respect increases. This is the visible effect of your crown. Now hear this gently. You do not need to announce who you are becoming. Your consistency will speak louder than any declaration. Let your life reflect your authority. Let your peace reveal your power. Let your decisions demonstrate your clarity. You are not here to convince anyone. You are here to live in truth. Some people will celebrate your rise. Some will tolerate it. Some will quietly distance themselves. All of that is allowed. You are not responsible for how others respond to your obedience. And now, I need you to receive this deeply personal message. The season of lack is ending. Not because you struggled enough, but because you learned enough. The season of confusion is ending. Not because answers suddenly appear, but because you trust yourself now. The season of delay is ending. Not because time changed, but because you did. You are stepping into a phase where effort produces results more quickly. Where clarity shortens process. Where alignment reduces struggle. But this requires one commitment from you. Consistency. Do not return to old habits when new results take time. Do not doubt progress because growth feels unfamiliar. Do not abandon yourself when challenges arise. Queens do not retreat at the first sign of pressure. They adjust and continue. And now, my child, I want you to understand the most important truth of all. This crown was never about ruling others. It was about ruling your inner world. Your thoughts. Your reactions. Your self-image. And you are doing it. Every time you choose peace over drama. Every time you choose rest over burnout. Every time you choose truth over fear. You are wearing your crown well. Heaven celebrated not because you became powerful, but because you became aware. And awareness is the beginning of everything. You are not waiting for your life to change. Your life is responding to you now. So walk forward without apology. Stand firm without aggression. Choose boldly without guilt. You are ready. And this is still not the end. My child. Do not let your heart rush ahead of your understanding. Stay present. Because what unfolds now is the final alignment before visibility. And visibility always follows preparation. There is a reason your life has felt exposed lately. Not attacked. Exposed. As if things you once managed to hide from yourself are now impossible to ignore. Patterns. Desires. Fears. Strengths. Weaknesses. This is not punishment. This is refinement. Before authority becomes public, integrity must become internal. You are entering a phase where pretending will exhaust you. Where half-truths will feel heavy. Where compromises will drain your spirit quickly. This is because your tolerance for misalignment has decreased. Not because you are difficult, but because you are clear. Clarity is expensive. It costs old comforts. Old excuses. Old attachments. And you are paying that price now. Some days, you will miss the simplicity of being unseen. Of being underestimated. Of being able to move quietly without expectations. That nostalgia is normal. But do not confuse familiarity with safety. You were never meant to stay hidden. Public recognition does not always arrive as applause. Sometimes it arrives as responsibility. People begin to watch you more closely. Seek your opinion. Respond differently to your presence. Measure your words. Feel influenced by your energy. This is not pressure. This is positioning. Your influence is expanding, whether you acknowledge it or not. And influence demands intentionality. What you tolerate now teaches others how to treat you. What you choose now shapes what comes next. What you delay now delays alignment. So move with awareness. Now let us speak about finances, because this is where many misunderstand divine alignment. Money does not respond to desperation. It responds to order. It flows toward clarity, structure, and self-respect. As you stop undervaluing yourself, opportunities will stop undervaluing you. As you stop accepting less, access to more will appear. As you stop doubting your worth, compensation will reflect it. This does not mean instant wealth. It means sustainable provision. You will begin to notice that the same effort produces better results. That doors open through conversations rather than struggle. That help arrives without you begging for it. This is not luck. This is alignment. But hear this warning with love. Do not sabotage this phase by rushing. Many miss stability because they chase speed. They mistake movement for progress. You are not behind. You are not late. You are exactly where refinement meets reward. Allow the process to complete. Now let us address peace, because this is the true sign of your authority activating. Your reactions will change. Your need to explain will reduce. Your tolerance for chaos will disappear. You will no longer feel pulled into every conflict. Not because you do not care, but because you discern where your energy belongs. Peace is not passivity. It is mastery. You will learn when to speak and when silence speaks louder. When to act and when stillness is strength. When to hold on and when to release. This wisdom does not come from books. It comes from lived experience. And you have earned it. Now, my child, receive this truth. You will outgrow people you once prayed to keep. You will release dreams you once begged for. You will choose paths you once feared. And that does not make your past wrong. It makes your present honest. You are not betraying who you were. You are honoring who you are becoming. Some will misunderstand this. Let them. Understanding is not required for alignment. Your responsibility is not to be liked. It is to be true. And now, the final phase begins internally before it becomes visible externally. You will feel a strong urge to simplify. To organize. To clear. To create structure. Follow that instinct. Order attracts expansion. Clean your space. Clarify your goals. Set boundaries. Rest without guilt. These are not small actions. They are signals. Signals that tell the universe you are ready to receive without chaos. Now hear this final instruction for this part. Do not wait for confidence to act. Confidence follows action. Take the step that feels aligned but uncomfortable. Make the decision that feels right but unfamiliar. Choose the option that honors your future, not your fear. You are not guessing anymore. You are remembering. And remembrance is powerful. Heaven did not celebrate because you were perfect. Heaven celebrated because you were willing. Willing to grow. Willing to learn. Willing to rise. And now, the last thing I want you to know in this moment. You are safe to succeed. You are allowed to thrive. You are worthy of ease. Your life is not about proving anything anymore. It is about living in alignment with truth. This crown is not heavy because it fits you. And you are wearing it well. My beloved child. This is the moment where everything settles. Not because the journey ends, but because clarity fully arrives. What you are feeling right now is not emotion alone. It is recognition. Something inside you has aligned with truth, and truth always brings stillness after movement. Now listen slowly. Receive, do not rush. Heaven did not crown you so you could struggle harder. Heaven crowned you so you could finally walk lighter. Authority was never meant to burden you. It was meant to free you from carrying what was never yours to hold. For so long, you carried responsibility that did not belong to you. You carried guilt that was planted by others. You carried fear inherited from environments that did not understand your depth. And because you carried it quietly, people assumed you were strong enough to keep carrying more. But strength without boundaries becomes exhaustion. And exhaustion was never your calling. This is why this coronation mattered. Not because of a title, but because of release. From this moment forward, you are no longer required to prove your worth through suffering. You are no longer required to earn love through sacrifice. You are no longer required to stay small to keep others comfortable. You are allowed to breathe now. And as you breathe, notice something subtle but powerful. Your spirit is no longer fighting. It is settling. That is how you know this is real. Truth does not create chaos inside you. It creates alignment. Now I want to speak directly to the future version of you, the one who will look back at this moment and realize this was the turning point. There will come a day when you will say, "That was when I stopped doubting myself. That was when I stopped waiting for permission. That was when I chose myself without guilt." And from that choice, everything shifted. The job that once felt impossible will arrive naturally. The money that once caused anxiety will stabilize. The peace you once chased will settle in your body. Not because life became perfect, but because you became grounded. You will still face challenges. Queens are not exempt from storms. But storms will no longer confuse you. You will recognize them as weather, not destiny. You will no longer panic at delays. You will no longer beg for clarity. You will no longer question your intuition. You will trust yourself. And trust is the greatest form of authority. People will notice the change. They may not name it correctly, but they will feel it. Your presence will calm some and intimidate others. That is normal. Light always does both. Do not dim yourself to manage reactions. Do not over-explain your growth. Those who are meant to walk with you will adjust. Those who are not will fade without drama. Let them go in peace. Now, hear this with absolute certainty. Your past does not disqualify you. Your mistakes do not define you. Your delays did not deny you. Everything you lived through refined you for this role. And this role is not about ruling others. It is about ruling your inner world with wisdom. Choosing peace over impulse. Direction over distraction. Purpose over pressure. From this day forward, you walk differently. Not louder. Not harsher. But steadier. When fear rises, you will not obey it. When doubt whispers, you will not follow it. When confusion appears, you will pause instead of panic. That is authority. Now I want you to receive this closing declaration, not as words, but as truth. You are not behind in life. You are not forgotten. You are not invisible. You are positioned. Positioned for stability. Positioned for provision. Positioned for peace. And everything that unfolds from here will confirm what heaven already declared. So walk forward gently, but firmly. Expect good without anxiety. Work without fear. Rest without guilt. You do not need to rush your destiny. It is already moving toward you. This chapter does not end with noise. It ends with knowing. And knowing is power. My beloved child, the crown fits because it was always yours. And now, live accordingly.